Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official Week 16 NFL score predictions, where I go through every single game on the Week 16 NFL schedule and predict the final score. This week it might be a little challenging. There's still 4 games that have not been played in week number 15 as I'm recording this video. I'm recording it early Monday afternoon. We've still got 4 games, 2 tonight and then 2 on Tuesday night. So it could be a little challenging, but guys, let's get right into it, starting with the Thursday night game. I love when they do these Thursday night games, NFC going to an AFC team. It's so rare. You've got San Francisco traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans for an 8:20 Thursday night affair. And the thing is, I just cannot trust the Tennessee Titans. I'm not feeling it this year with them without Derrick Henry. Their run game is a major question mark. San Francisco's been playing better recently. I thought Vegas was going to give us a better spread, like it'd be a pick'em, or maybe Tennessee -1 or -2, considering Tennessee does have a good record and they are a decent team. But Vegas came out with a very good spread with San Francisco -3.5. I think I'm not touching the spread overall. I will say maybe the under in this game, although I think the under is like 44 or 45, and I have, the final score at 45 total points. So I'm probably staying away from this game when it comes to betting. But San Francisco, less question marks. They are traveling West Coast, East Coast, coming off that win against Atlanta. Easy win for them. But I like San Francisco just a little bit better than this Tennessee team. Tennessee, a lot of question marks. Will they get A.J. Brown back? What's going on with Derrick Henry? He's probably a few weeks away. At least that's what I think. Julio Jones injures his hamstring about 67 times a year. He's probably going to be out, so give me San Francisco. Moving on to the Saturday games, these are the Christmas Day games. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. It is the Cleveland Browns traveling in a rarity, traveling to Lambeau Field. We'll have to see if the Browns can win tonight with Nicholas Mullins as the starting quarterback. They're going to be taking on the Green Bay Packers, and how about Aaron Rodgers improving his MVP odds? Phenomenal game in Baltimore. Compound that with Tom Brady's pathetic performance on Sunday Night Football. There, he's possibly the MVP favorite. This is the 4:30 game on Saturday, and it's almost like, I do have this game being close. I think the NFL wants a close game, but it's almost like it needs to snow in this game, right? It's 4:30 on Saturday. Everyone's going to be watching Christmas Day. You want to talk about what's going on with the NBA currently and their Christmas Day games with a lot of players possibly being out. Everybody's going to be watching this game. It better snow in Lambeau. Christmas Day, it would be beautiful, and I think the NFL is going to be like, we want a close game here. Let's keep it close. Green Bay, their defense has been a little wobbly. We saw what Huntley did against them, 30 total points. They almost came back and won that game had they converted a 2-point conversion. So Green Bay's defense, not that impenetrable. We're expecting Baker Mayfield to be back. He feels fine, but he can't play. It's a little ridiculous, but he should be back for next weekend's game in Green Bay. We'll have to see if the Browns can get it done without him. The nightcap on Saturday is going to be the Colts traveling to Arizona. And this one, I'm getting a very good read on Arizona bouncing back and winning this game by about 10 points, 27-17. I've never been a huge believer in Indianapolis, and the thing is, if you just shut down Jonathan Taylor, like if I'm Arizona, I'm saying, listen, we're not going to allow Jonathan Taylor to beat us. We're going to load the box, force Carson Wentz to throw the ball. Carson Wentz had only like 12 total attempts against New England. Some of that was game script related, but overall, it's not like Indianapolis has these superstar stud receivers that you can't leave in one-on-one matchups. If I'm Arizona, I'm loading the box. I'm trusting my DBs and saying, hey, Carson Wentz, go throw the ball down the field to beat us. Arizona, they're coming off a terrible loss to the Lions, but that's just the NFL. You can't overreact to a 1 week's performance. They were on the road. You're going to a different time zone. You're back home here on Christmas. Kyler Murray, there's some question marks with Kyler Murray right now. How well can he play without DeAndre Hopkins? How well can he play without that number 1 receiver? I think they run Kyler Murray a lot more in this game. He gets 9 or 10 rushing attempts, probably picks up some key third downs running the ball, and I feel very confident Arizona will cover. I think they're a 1-point favorite, or maybe they're a 1-point underdog. I don't know exactly, but either way, they're going to cover this game. This is a game I'm very confident Arizona will win by 2 scores. I got it at 27-17. Moving on to the 1 o'clock slate on Sunday, it is Detroit, and how about Dan Campbell in Detroit winning some football games? They're traveling to Atlanta Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Falcons coming off an embarrassing loss. And listen, sometimes you just got to ride with the hot hand. I'm riding with Detroit. I'm riding with Dan Campbell. Clearly, the players love playing for him. Atlanta's a team, not a lot going for them right now. Calvin Ridley still out. Matt Ryan getting crushed back there. It's unfortunate for Matt Ryan, but this is one of those games neither of these teams care about it. If you're a fan of either of these teams, you're probably rooting for them to lose because there's no incentive to win right now. If you lose, you could possibly get a better draft pick. But this Detroit team, they're playing better recently. They get their first win, then they get another huge win as 13-point underdogs, completely crushing Arizona. And it just feels like they have more energy in this game. You get to these games later in the season, you're just looking for storylines, two teams that aren't making the playoffs. Who's going to play harder? I think Detroit is. I think they get the win on the road and continue that momentum. This is a huge AFC North divisional game. This could decide the division. It is the Ravens traveling to Cincinnati. Earlier in the season, Cincinnati went into Baltimore and got a huge win, and I predicted that correctly, by the way. Well, you know what? I think the script's reverse here. Baltimore comes into Cincinnati, gets a win. I'm concerned about Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati passing attack a little bit. Jamar Chase, these quiet games, I will say maybe a little bit of a reprieve considering they were facing Denver in Denver. That's a tough defense, but still, there's just something missing with Cincinnati right now. Baltimore, I understand the Lamar Jackson injury concern. They rested him. They wanted to be cautious about it. I think he'll be back for this game and ready to go. They nearly beat a really good Green Bay team at home. Baltimore gets the job done here and possibly takes control of the AFC North depending on what Cleveland does. The next game, it's going to be the Rams at the Minnesota Vikings. Both of these teams have not played yet, so this is a clear speculative prediction. I do have the Minnesota Vikings getting kind of an upset win over LA. Although when I checked the recent spread, it was only LA -3. Inevitably, it's going to change considering they both play within the next 2 days. But Minnesota is a team, especially this year in the NFL, at home, they can beat anyone. Kirk Cousins is solid. You've got two stud receivers. You've got a star running back in Dalvin Cook. The Rams traveling, it is in a dome, so that's good for Matt Stafford. But you're traveling West Coast to East Coast, changing a few time zones, maybe a little sluggish 1 o'clock start after playing. I believe they play a Tuesday night game coming up at home. I'll take Minnesota in a nice little close upset win, 31-28. Next, we've got another great one. I'm really surprised they didn't flex one of these games into Sunday Night Football. It is Buffalo traveling to New England. This very likely could decide the division, and I do have New England winning it 21-17. It seems like there's just something missing with Josh Allen this year. He hasn't been 100% accurate. I expected him to have an absolutely massive game against Carolina. He was decent, but there's just something missing. As for New England, they're coming back home with that defense, cold weather game. I expect them to really run the ball a lot, get back to what they want to do. Mac Jones threw the ball 46 times on Saturday night in Indianapolis. That's not a recipe for a New York win. Bill Belichick knows it. They get back to the ground game and get a close win, and I'm not betting against Bill Belichick here. They're going to wrap up the division with a nice win. The next game, it is Jacksonville taking on the New York Jets. So Jacksonville seems to be involved in a lot of these games that are just completely meaningless. This is another one. I do have them getting a win. We're waiting for Trevor Lawrence to show us something. I'm thinking lower scoring type game. There's really not a lot to talk about in this game. If you're a fan of either of these teams, I would suggest, and I used to do this, you got to root against your team. You want the better draft pick. I will say, if you're a Jaguars fan, the one thing you're looking for, development from Trevor Lawrence. And if you're a Jets fan, the one thing you're looking for, development from Zach Wilson. Limit the turnovers, maybe throw a few touchdowns, but overall, you want to see some development, but you also want to lose. You want that top pick. You want to be able to get a superstar pass rusher, a franchise left tackle, something like that. So while you're hoping the young quarterbacks do well, you're really looking to lose so you get a better draft pick. It's really tough to analyze games like this. I have it as a lower scoring Jaguars victory because I think they're due for a win. That's my speculation on that one. The next game is going to be the Giants at the Eagles. The Giants may be getting Daniel Jones back. They need him. Mike Glennon is just an eyesore to watch. Oh my God, Mike Glennon. And then the Eagles play on Tuesday night, so this is a bit of a speculative pick. I do have the Eagles winning this game 27-22. I saw the opening line in this game was like Philadelphia -10, or it was double digits. I'm guessing they're thinking Daniel Jones is still going to be out. Realistically, though, look for the Giants possibly to start Jake Fromm in this game. Mike Glennon clearly is not the future. Jake Fromm probably isn't the future either, but why not just throw him out there and see what he can do? Either way, I've got the Eagles winning this game 27-22. Jalen Hurts probably going to be starting in this one. I do think they'll go back to Jalen Hurts. We kind of know what Gardner Minshew is. He did have a nice game a few weeks ago, but they still want to see more out of Jalen Hurts. The next 1 o'clock game is the Tampa Bay Bucks coming off getting shut out on Sunday Night Football. They're going to Carolina to take on a Panthers team that is trending significantly down right now. And I have the Bucks getting back on track. They're due to score a lot. I will say, we believe Antonio Brown will 100% be back for this game. Chris Godwin, we don't know. Mike Evans, we don't know. But Antonio Brown will be back. Gronk will be back. Leonard Fournette went out of the game. We'll have to see if he comes back. I think the bottom line here is I think Tampa Bay gets back on track. They're due for a massive win after that pathetic performance at home against New Orleans. When you think about it and what New Orleans did, I'm shocked Tampa Bay didn't just run the ball more. Maybe it was because of Leonard Fournette getting injured, but they just drop everyone back in coverage. The box, they have a 6-man box. And you've got Tampa Bay coming out and throwing on the first 11 plays of the game. They played right into their hands. You get into the passing lanes. We know Tom Brady loves those quick slants, those short passes. Make Brady push the ball down the field. That's what New Orleans did. It was a smart strategy. We'll have to see if other teams mimic that strategy and dare Tampa Bay to run the football. We'll give you a 6-man box on 1st and 10. We dare you to run the football. Run it. You won't run it. That's what New Orleans did, and they didn't run it. And Tom Brady's sitting back there on 1st and 10 with 3 linebackers dropping into coverage, and you can see the result. They didn't score any points. You could also say Godwin got injured, Mike Evans got injured. We understand that, but even before that, they were struggling on offense. I think they get back on track. Carolina is just a mess. They're just a complete mess. McCaffrey out for the year. DJ Moore, it's tough if you're DJ Moore. I mean, Cam Newton, Cam Newton could be a really good backup in this league, but he's just not starting caliber quarterback. The final game of the 1 o'clock slate is going to be the Chargers at the Houston Texans. Warm weather matchup here in a dome. I have this game being a blowout. Don't overthink this one, guys. The Chargers, they got a tough loss. They should have won that game versus the Chiefs. You're talking about 2 4th downs in the red zone. How many drops did the Chargers have? Especially that 4th down drop, a 7-point swing on the first drive of the game. The Chargers are a good team. They're going to get back on track. This is a no-nonsense win for the LA Chargers. They get an easy win over Houston. Houston, we're concerned about them even scoring at this point. We really are. Let's not disrespect them. I think they did beat Jacksonville and scored a little bit, but seriously, they're due for a really bad performance. They're going to have it at home, and they're going to get crushed and lose by around 20 points. Moving on to the 4 o'clock window, it is going to be the Chicago Bears at the Seahawks. Both of these teams have yet to play in Week 15, so another speculation pick here. But guys, you heard it here first. This is Justin Fields' breakout game. I'm calling it. Seattle, not that great on defense. Justin Fields, I'm thinking 3 passing touchdowns, maybe a rushing touchdown, 300 passing yards. This is his game. Not tonight against Minnesota. It's going to be tough tonight against Minnesota, colder weather. Next week in Seattle, Justin Fields breaks out. They get a surprising win, and Justin Fields gives Bears fans something to be excited for going into the offseason. He's been progressing each week. He's been looking better. He's been getting more comfortable. This is the breakout game for Justin Fields, and people are going to be really impressed with him. Seattle, who knows with them? They've got good offensive players, but it just hasn't been there this year. Now on to the 425 games. It's going to be the Broncos traveling to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, and I do have the Raiders winning this game 24-16. It's tough to predict a Broncos victory right now with the quarterback situation. Drew Lock probably starting next week. Drew Lock, not a bad backup, but when it comes to starting, not really starter quality. We'll have to see what happens with the Raiders tonight. They play the Browns. I expect the Browns to win a closer, low-scoring game, even with Nick Mullins. But next week, I think the Raiders bounce back. They get back with a win. Defense shuts down the Denver Broncos offense, and they win at home 24-16. The final 425 game is going to be Pittsburgh at Kansas City. Pittsburgh in desperate needs of wins. Kansas City, on the other hand, trying to continue their momentum. Patrick Mahomes having a really nice second half to his year. I love the over in this game, and I love the Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes, He's rounding into form right now. Travis Kelce last week, huge week, 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think it's Tyreek Hill's turn this week, maybe 200 yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns for Tyreek Hill. He really hasn't had that massive game yet this year. This could be the week. And Pittsburgh, they have decent receiving weapons. I think playing from behind, Big Ben's going to be able to put up some yards, especially in the second half. Pittsburgh does seem to score a lot of points normally in the fourth quarter. They did get a win against Tennessee in kind of a lower scoring game to stay in the playoff race, but it's going to be tough for them as 10-point underdogs going into Kansas City. The 8 o'clock game on Sunday Night Football is going to be Washington at Dallas. This is an obvious one. I am not sure why they didn't flex it out, but it is this game, and I do have Dallas winning 34-16. This is Dak's breakout game. He's had a rough second half to the year, but he's back home in a dome. He's with Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, everyone's healthy. He has all his offensive weapons going against Washington. Washington does have a good defense, but I still trust Dak, who struggled recently, kind of played it safe this past week against the Giants, didn't want to turn the ball over. He's going to break out. We're looking at 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and a Dallas Cowboys blowout win over Washington, 34-16. I feel really good about that one. And then the final game, the Monday night game, another interesting one. I love these AFC, NFC games. You've got Tua and the Dolphins traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints, coming off their huge shutout win. And how could I not pick the Saints to win this game after that defensive performance last night? I am high on Tua, let me make myself clear on that, but it's tough to pick against the Saints. I loved that defensive performance on Sunday Night Football. Lower scoring, close game, Taysom Hill. They really need to run Taysom Hill more. I'm talking like he should get 15 to 20 carries a game. You know, he is not a viable starting option in the NFL, but he can win you some games. Don't get me wrong. He cannot throw the ball. If I'm Sean Payton probably coming back this week, you would think, if I'm Sean Payton, I'm designing a lot more runs for Taysom Hill. He uses his body as basically a battering ram, and if you're the Saints, you can really generate some good points off Taysom Hill's legs. But guys, that's going to do it for my official Week 16 NFL score predictions. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.